What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another Sports Talk on Tap video. And in today's NBA, we're going to do, with the finals still a couple days away, make sure if you haven't already, check out our finals preview with yesterday's episode, where, we kind of break down the matchup, who we think is going to win. That'll be exciting. But yeah, a couple days off. So now it's time to get creative. And, it's only fair to look at, every team in the NBA and kind of ranking their futures where we think they are. This could obviously change if we did this like a year from now or even last year. But, kind of see where, every team matches up for their future. And we're excited to do this. And Nick, what's the first team we got?
We got the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks. I think we're going in order of.
Yeah. Oh, man. For the Bucks, it's rough. I think they're kind of on the wrong side. You still have Giannis, but there have already been rumors of trades.
I can't put them like bad.
They're not on the rise. I'd go middle of the pack for a future ride, because they're kind of only getting worse every year. We've seen the last 2 years first round exits after, winning the chip, then kind of losing in the second round conference final. It's been rough for Milwaukee fans. Great regular season team, but they've kind of hit this brick wall, and they're one of the oldest rosters in the league. So for me, it doesn't move much to put them there.
Not too long ago, they were like the team too.
Yeah, I mean they got their chip, and while they still have Giannis, they'll still be good. But for future wise, Giannis is already 30. It's gonna be tough. Nets, for me, is not going anywhere. They traded a lot of their picks in the Durant, in the James Harden trade, and it was a lot of their future. They got Mikal Bridges and Cam Thomas. It's not great being a Nets fan right now. Knicks,
I would say potential contenders.
Yeah, they're future. With Jalen Brunson there, he'll be good. He'll be signing even more long term. You got young players like Josh Hart, the Villanova boys, DiVincenzo. They have the way they showed last year, if they were healthy, they could have competed. If they signed OG and Nobi, this team is going to be lethal. Either way, with Jalen Brunson, they're potential contenders. Toronto Raptors. They gave up on that core of Siakam, Van Vliet, and have now moved in OG, and now they're kind of, with Scotty Barnes.
19th pick this year too.
Grady Dick. They have some interesting pieces. But I don't know where we'd want to rank them future wise.
Nothing crazy.
I would say middle of the pack, not going anywhere kind of thing for a while. I don't really know. Scotty Barnes is a good player, but we don't really know much about anyone else. Next team, Utah Jazz. They got a lot of picks coming up from that Rudy Gobert trade. Lauri Markkanen has been good. Walker Kessler kind of took a step back, but he can still be a solid young player. For me, they're probably either middle of the pack or on the rise.
Let's give somebody some love on the rise.
Well, I think this next team fits the definition of on the rise, the Houston Rockets. They soared under first-year head coach Ime Udoka. Jalen Green took a huge step. They made interesting off-season acquisitions, signing like Dylan Brooks, who I thought, was very underrated on that Grizzlies team. Does he talk a little bit too much? Probably, but, he's a great defender. And he got much more efficient with the shot. I like them.
Third pick too. So
some young itching pieces. The Thompson twin. I always mix them up. I think they have Amen Thompson. They got a lot of potential, and they're just starting. Almost made the play last year. The Pelicans for me are the definition of middle of the pack. Zion is always a question mark with his injury. This team was one of the most promising teams probably a couple of years ago, but Zion's injuries have just made it so this team, I don't know what to do with them anymore. They're always the 7 through 10 seed, either playing or getting swept in the first round. So for me, they're middle of the pack. They still got Herb Jones and stuff, but the hype about them was way more like 2 years ago when everyone thought they had potential.
Mhm.
Special. For me, for the Lakers right now,
I would
it's
say down here.
yeah, they won their chip, but LeBron, will he even be back? AD's getting old. I would say not going anywhere. Last they made a good run as a 7th seed due to some injuries to other teams. But last year they showed 7th seed again, got stomped in 5 games. It was a close series, but yeah, the LeBron question mark, another year older for AD. It's just not, they got their chip, but that's whatever. Neither here nor there. Chicago Bulls not going anywhere. I mean, what do we have? DeMar, who's just kind of they're always stuck in limbo of like the 9th seed. It feels like Kobe White took a huge step, so maybe we could throw them in the middle of the pack. Maybe being a little bit too harsh with Kobe because Kobe White took that huge step.
Was it like Levine trade rumors or something?
Yeah, they could get some picks there, and then that could help brighten their future. Yeah. I mean, this isn't like, a contenders list for like, next season, like, their future. So it could be interesting with the Levine stuff. But for right now, with DeMar, they're kind of just, there, middle of the pack. Minnesota, I'd throw in probably just like potential contenders.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Edwards is just only 22 years old. Jay McDaniels, Naz Reid, all under 25. And you still got some key pieces like Towns, Gobert. So yeah, that's fair for them. Trailblazers. Scoot Henderson, very disappointing rookie season. How will he bounce back? That'll be a key that everyone's paying attention for. But with that being said, for me, I don't know what to rank their future because Scoot looked. I mean, he got a little bit better as the season went on. They still have like Anthony Simons. Their future's kind of like in the middle for me, though. I don't really know what they'll be.
And they signed DeAndre Ayton to that big deal.
Well, they like traded for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton's on that huge deal from the Suns. I'd go like middle, not going anywhere. I don't know, though. It depends with Scoot. Scoot's the huge X factor there.
He was claiming he was like better than Wemby, but
yeah, and Shane Sharp, was injured last year, had some ups and downs his rookie season, so be interesting to see. I think next year we'll tell a lot more about the Trailblazers with Scoot, Shaden healthy.
Yeah, they missed, and I'm pretty sure Brogdon and Robert Williams both got traded there, right? And like
and they were just doing whatever. Yeah, it's weird there.
They didn't.
They got a weird mix of everything. Nuggets for me.
Chips on the way. All right. Future-wise, Jokic isn't that old. Jamal Murray's not old. That's their core.
How much better can they get? They got eliminated in the second round last year. This past season. They already won their chip, but Jokic is going to be 30 now.
I still see more championships with Jokic. Like,
depends. Yeah, they could, but it's also very interesting. Like, what do they do? Do they just run it back? I would obviously put them in maybe potential contenders, chips on the way, but I think there's only one team I'm going to put in chips on the way for the future.
What is that? Is that San Antonio?
No, they're potential contenders, but you never know. It's this next team here. The Oklahoma City Thunder, one of the brightest futures in the league, 1 seed this past season, took the Dallas Mavericks to 6 games before losing in the second round. They got all the picks in the world. They're going to make some trades for superstars. They got all these young key players off the bench like Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace in his rookie year was an outstanding shooter, great defender. They can pretty much do whatever they want, but you got that superstar in SGA that you can build around. This team is so good. This team could probably win 3 chips in the next 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised. The Thunder are going to be that team out of the West.
I'll put them up there, though.
Yeah, you don't think so? I
definitely think they have the brightest future, but
That's more so what this.
Ranking. That's what we're ranking. So yeah.
Yeah, that is like if we were to say straight contenders next season, I put Denver tier 1, Thunder like tier 2.
Like in 5 years, the Thunder are going to be young.
Yeah, in 5 years, I think, and then 5 years from now, Nikola Jokic is going to be like 35. So it's like, and that's where I'm kind of looking at that. Memphis Grizzlies, I would put this team. This is kind of, if Josh stays healthy and doesn't get into legal trouble, you still got Jaren Jackson. GG Jackson showed some nice potential. I think this team's on the rise.
Yeah.
They're very good. They 2 years ago, the last 2 years before this year, they were the 2 seed. Never made that far of a playoff run, but they got the potential with Desmond Bain still there. Their young team, GG Jackson with their picks. What will they do in the draft this year? I believe they do have a top 10 pick somewhere in like the 7 to 10 range. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Dallas Mavericks, with Luka there, this team for the next, it's at least potential contender, if not chips on the way with Luka.
I'll put potential contenders because this is like more so over ranking their futures. And
Kyrie won't be on the team by then. He'll be like 38, probably retired. But Luka there, they'll always be a potential contender because he's making a case for the best player in the world now. Spurs, probably potential contenders or chips on the way. I want to still see a little bit more. I would go potential. They
have, I think, a top 5 pick this year too.
Yeah, but this draft class stinks. So it's like having
true.
I saw an analyst say that having the number 1 overall pick this year is like having a number overall, like the number 9 overall pick in most years' drafts. So maybe that's disrespectful, but Wembanyama obviously could be like soon next season top 10 player. But still got weight, still the pieces around them. But will be very interesting to see. Next team, Phoenix. Man, this is probably, do we give them respect and put middle of the pack, or do we just do not going anywhere?
Honestly, they gave up their future for Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, and
they got swept in the first round. Yeah. All right. I'm fair with that. I think Coach Budenholzer is their best fit, so I'm curious. Maybe I'm going to give them one more year. But, last year they proved nothing. So, they kind of missed their championship window from 2020 to now. They made the NBA Finals. Were up 2-0 and then kind of folded. But, happens. Next team, LA Clippers. This is probably a not going anywhere team.
Same thing happened with like Paul George, Kawhi,
and someone always gets injured. They trade for Harden. Golden State, their future is interesting. You got middle of the pack. I would go middle of the pack because you still got Kuminga. Brandon Podjemski made first team, all rookie. Obviously, though, with Clay and Draymond. But their future, I don't think is awful. They're trying to do this weird thing where they build the young while still having that core. But this is going to be a huge offseason for Golden State. But I think they'll try to build around those young players.
Yeah, because you got to think, 5 years down the road, Curry's probably going to be retired.
Yeah, and I think then, but, Kuminga averaged like 17 last year. Jace Jackson Davis, I think that's his name, was doing some good things, even started in the playing game. So we'll see. I think they got an interesting young core. So that's why I go middle of the pack for now. Detroit Pistons is just a G League squad for me. They don't.
You're not facing Cade?
Cade is, I think his situation stinks. I think he's like their only good player, though. Still can't get over that Killian Hayes pick. Maybe it's not. Maybe we could put them in I like Marcus Sasser and Jaden Ivey. Obviously, still has some good potential, but I feel like all their guys are decent, but then we see, and every year they're last place,
and then they don't get the number 1 pick. So that
I don't know. I don't know. Kings. It's definitely, I think this is the definition of middle of the pack. You got Fox, Sabonis, but you might lose Malik Monk. You're just kind of a middle of the pack team. Kevin Huerter, pieces like that. Doesn't, move anyone. They were like a 9 seed this past season. So, it's kind of whatever. Next team, Cleveland. Looks like they're going to keep Donovan Mitchell long term. You still got Evan Mobley, but I think Darius Garland's going to get traded this offseason. But with Donovan Mitchell, as for right now, Evan Mobley in a weaker Eastern Conference, I think this team's going to be on the rise. I think they'll be, competing like a top, not potential contender level, but they'll be like, on the rise, like top 3 seed at some point.
Okay.
Next team, Boston Celtics. They have their window, if we're talking like future, like this season, next season, and maybe the season after, like it's like chips on the way. If we're looking like, 5 years, I think eventually some players are going to be gone just by either natural age like Drew Holiday or just the contracts of Jaylen Brown, JT. So for me, it's like, they're obviously playing in the finals. So their future, though, for me, if you got Jason and Jaylen, like you'll always be, a potential contender. But like right now, they're putting all their chips in winning a chip. Probably, I don't want to say it's this season or bust, but it feels like that for Boston because you never know. They've been relatively healthy this year, aside from KP, but KP's always dealing with injuries. I feel like I don't know where do you want to put them?
Like you just said, I think if they can somehow keep around Tatum and Brown, they're always going to be contenders. But if we're talking 5 years down the road, when likely Porzingis is gone, likely Holiday's gone,
Holiday's probably retired at that point.
Right.
He's like 39.
I don't know.
Derek White, they probably can't afford him.
Peyton Pritchard might move on to a team that will start him because.
Yeah, if we're looking 5 years from now and they're paying Jaylen Brown's making like $70 million in that contract he took, at least 60. Same with JT. How much of that roster can you build? They'll still be contenders, but they won't have a Derek White, Drew Holiday, and KP around them. So for me, I would say probably like high potential contenders, but for if we're doing like future, but this next 1 to 2 years, they're like putting all their chips in, win the chip, and it might pay off this season with a chip. Next team, 76ers. This is kind of a middle of the pack. I have a lot of question marks. You got Tyrese, who's good, but Joel Embiid's 30. Their ceiling's round 2. That's it. I don't know where you want to put them. Hornets for me is not going anywhere. LaMelo's kind of at this point for me just a name. He's been, he has a lot of talent, but has been dealing with some, just injuries and just kind of, the Hornets were like a playing team, like the 10 seed at best. I don't know. They got like young players, but they just kind of are. Although I'll credit Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller looked really good his rookie season. So maybe it could be a middle of the pack team if him and LaMelo are healthy. And I think Miles Bridges came back. I don't know, though. What do you think? That's a weird team.
I think they belong down here. You obviously have more basketball knowledge than me, but I still think that Charlotte is the place you don't want to go if you're a young player.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be there. So I would say not going anywhere. I think I'm looking at their draft. They have the 6th pick right now, and like you just said, with how bad this draft class is, that's like having the 20th pick. Like they're not going to really get a stud player unless obviously anybody can break out. But
yeah, fair enough. I'd say the same thing for the Wizards. Just or maybe even like
I kind of want to put them down here.
Yeah, I was thinking we could do that. Roster is buns. They got some shooters. I like Corey Kispert, but other than that, no thank you to this roster. Kyle Kuzma leading the way. Nope, doesn't do it for me. Magic. I think this team is potential contenders. They still have a lot of. They could sign someone, but the way Boncaro looked. Wagner, they took that huge step to be a top 5 seed, almost went on to the second round. I like their future. Jalen Suggs took a huge step too. So I'm liking this team. Made an all defensive team. Miami Heat, I'll give them their respect and just put them in the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
When
that's what I was thinking.
their future, I don't think is the best, but if you got Jimmy Butler, they made the finals 2 out of the last like 4 seasons. So I'll give them their respect and just leave them in there for now, and wait it out. Next team, Atlanta Hawks. There are rumors Trae Young may be gone. Either way, whatever they do, they're not going anywhere. They don't move. I mean, Jalen Johnson was good though. Was like their most improved, so we could put them middle of the pack. I don't know. It was kind of like whatever for me. And then the last team, Indiana. I mean, this may feel low to some considering they just made it to the ECF, but I'm going to put them in like low on the rise. I think Tyrese, only 24. Andrew Nembhard showed a lot of potential, but it's kind of a weird run. They just beat up on some injured teams, which is, whatever. Pacers made it there. But, I still got a lot of question marks. Do they have the defense to keep up with teams like the Celtics and the Knicks fully healthy? I still think there's some good question marks there. But, they're a fairly young team. They're on the rise for now. They may make a trade or two coming up. But, yeah, for me, this is kind of just where they are. Maybe it's just internal development that helps them grow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think. I think overall it's a pretty dope list. I think, how I like doing tier list. One team for like S or like, a specific thing. And I think that team is the Thunder ranking future wise. With that being said, let us know you agree, disagree with in the comments. I think overall this might be a perfect list, but you never know. Someone may have a strong opinion one way. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.